Hello, I'm Kim. I run a business called Beechtree Handmade, and usually I'm sat on that side of my office having a nice little chat. But number one, the dog has nicked my spot again. And the other reason is that I have a buttload of work to do. It's the Easter holiday here in Wales at the time of filming, and I've got a whole list of things that I need to get done. Some of these things have been on my list for weeks, months, some of them as far back as last year, so I need to crack on. So today is more of a work with me and chat, and we're going to be talking about YouTube. Why I think it is the best platform online at the moment for handmade makers, creators and artists, but also why I think it's the hardest, because it is, if I'm being brutally honest. It's the best and the hardest. And I thought I would talk about that because I have done a video, was it last week or the week before? Just about how the state of play is at the moment online and how we need to stand out and stuff like that, and AI, and you can go and have a look at that if you want to. I think I sold it. But this felt like a natural follow-up video to make with that, because obviously YouTube is my particular brand of nonsense. So let's have at it, shall we? Oh, doggy. Oh dear. Oh no. Okay, we're going to start off in here in the conservatory because the weather is minging outside, so this is the best I can do light-wise, and I need to take pictures of the stick and stitch patches. This has been on my to-do list since last year. I had these in my Etsy shop as a PDF download. It's not there anymore, I've retired that, but I did mean to make them into patches a whole long time ago and didn't, so we're doing it today. If you can hear the sound of the rain, don't worry, we won't be staying in here, we will move. But for now, let's crack on and take some photos. But first, long hair problems. This is where having a camera screen that faces you helps. That'll do. Right, let's crack on. That is the sound of jets. We usually get that. Why do they always come out when I'm filming? Go away! Right, so you don't need to see me taking pictures of the things, and I'm only going to be using my phone. Okay, so the first reason that YouTube is just the best platform, in my personal opinion, is that, and I've said this before, it is the tide that lifts all ships. So I would say that my website should be my hub, but if I'm being brutally honest, YouTube is here because it's where I post my long form video. I don't post short form because I don't know, I can't wrap my head around it. But if I did, it would be here. It's where I have my membership. It's YouTube that also grows my email list, my Instagram account. It builds my Instagram account more than Instagram does. I went years trying to build Instagram, and it just felt like you couldn't grow unless you paid to boost your posts, or, as in more recently, you did short form content, which, as we've just established, I can't wrap my head around, which instantly puts me at a disadvantage, except I have YouTube. Take that, Instagram. Which kind of links nicely to the next reason why I really value it as a platform, and that is it's one of the few ones now where you can get any kind of organic reach. It's really easy to link it to your shop. Now obviously I'm monetized, which you have to get to in order to be able to link to a shop, and even then it's certain platforms. I use Shopify. I love Shopify. If you've been following me for any length of time, you'll know this, because it's like a snail carrying its home around with it. You can just take it wherever you go. It links with almost everything, which again is linked to the next one I've got down on my piece of paper that tells me what I should be talking about at any given time. You can grow your business and make sales from day one. No need to be monetized. which is what I was just saying. If you can't link your shop to your YouTube channel, you can just stick a link in the description, bish bash bosh. But you can also promote your business. For example, does anybody want a V? No? What about a Z? A Z? Another letter? You see, the barrier to entry is pretty low. And I love the fact that although it's not social media, you can still have conversations with people. It better not start raining heavily, otherwise I'm going to have to stop filming. It's not social media, but you know, you can have conversations with people in the community tab. If you do lives, you can speak to people like in real time. You don't lose that connection. And I think whenever you pick a platform, regardless of what it is, where it is, what you do on it, I think you need to be able to speak to your community. Otherwise, it's not really a platform that's going to help you grow much. One of the biggest reasons why I love this platform is that you don't have to be perfect. In fact, aiming for perfection can actually hold you back. This isn't TV. People don't come here for high quality production, or I know that there is a niche of like cinematic videos and all of that, but that is a niche. You don't need to be that level in order to succeed. In fact, there are some really scrappy bootstrap channels and they are just into the millions. I am not one of those, but I am scrappy. Just to put that into context, I reached 10,000 subscribers, and it wasn't until after that fact that I then got my fancy camera and fancy microphone. Up until that point, I'd just been using my phone and a little cheap lav mic. Some of you might remember me constantly tripping up over the lav mic lead. That's my point. You don't need a fancy setup, an expensive setup. You just need a camera. I would say volume, that's not the word I'm looking for. Audio. Good audio is probably more important than crisp, clear pictures. Light, you do need light. And on the topic of audio, I'm going to try and wrap this up quickly because I'm sure the sound in this room is terrible. So, the last point that I would say is that YouTube is the place for long form content, and it's one of the growing places now for short form. I still think TikTok and maybe a close second is Instagram when it comes to short form content, but YouTube is definitely in the mix. And as I say, long form, it's king. Not to mention it's a search engine. I don't know what the official line is now. I know that it used to be the second most used search engine next to Google search. I don't know if that's still the case, but it's, again, very high up in the mix, and it makes this platform just perfection, or as close to as you can get in this day and age anyway. Alright, we are going to finish up with these pictures, then I'm going to hoop up one of them and I'll start stitching, and we can talk about why, yes, this is the best platform in my personal opinion, but it's also the freaking hardest. Let's do it. Okay, I got my spot back. I've made myself a cup of coffee, and I am going to stitch up my bee for beech tree, handmade. But I tell you what, that was painful. I hate taking product photographs. I cannot be the only one. And I just started spelling out swear words towards the end, which I may or may not use. But I quickly found out as well that yes, it's a great idea to tie my hair back, because I've learnt the hard way that your hair gets in the picture and falls out and all of the things. So does mohair. What was I thinking? Well, I know what I was thinking. I love this jumper and I thought it would look cute in the video. It molts like a glittery, colourful, and I was constantly just sort of like picking little blue and pink hairs and fluff off the patches. So, lesson learned. Okay, right, we are threaded up. Let's just refresh my memory with the notes, if I can do that without knocking over the tripod. It's all a bit compact here. So yes, I said why I thought it was great. Now I'm saying why I think it's graft. And the first one I've got is editing. Well, first of all, that is a whole skill that you will have to learn, and I had no clue, literally no clue. And I remember finding it really frustrating because I had to find an editing software not knowing the first thing about editing softwares. I use Wondershare Filmora, and the reason I chose that was because it was one of the cheapest ones that I could find, and there were plenty of tutorials on YouTube to help me. You know those blog articles that you can find that tell you the best of a thing in that year? It was in a list like that, and I can't even remember who wrote the list, but I just remember thinking, that'll do. And then I had to learn how to use it, and I remember hating it. Now, I can edit a talking head video almost with my eyes closed. Not quite, because I need to know what my hands are doing. It's very difficult to take out all of the gaps and the ums, which I'm a bugger for, and also match my hand movements. And this is why there's a lot of cuts in my videos. It's not to try, and I know people will do it, it's like a strategy to try and keep people focused, but for me, I'm cutting stuff out. I'm cutting out, well, things like that. I'm cutting out gaps, I'm cutting out ums, and I'm occasionally cutting out swearing. I think I'm getting better at that.
Better.
Although I have filmed a few videos recently where I noticed a few got through. Doesn't matter, we're all adults here, a little swearing is not going to hurt anyone. But anyway, editing. Editing is one of the things that makes it the hardest, and it is a huge time suck. I don't like editing talking head videos so much just because it's very repetitive, it's very boring, but you do also have to pay attention. You can't listen to anything, or at least I can't have music playing in the background. I need silence. But I do like putting together vlogs. I do find that that's where there's more creativity, and I just enjoy it, and I can actually lose myself in it a little bit. So I do think editing can be fun, or it can be a chore. It really does depend how you come at it. But for the people who start YouTube channels just to make money, I always think, like, how long do they last? Because you've got to love it. There is so much time and effort and work that goes into it, and sometimes even money. You've got to love it. She says with an eye twitch. Where has that come from? This is probably the one that I hate the most. Titles and thumbnails, oh boy. This is the packaging of a YouTube video, and it's not just a nice to have, it's not just an afterthought, it's so important. Like, you can have the best video, and if it's not got the packaging right, it might tank. How well it does will largely depend on your title and thumbnail, and that sucks. It sucks because then you have to learn what works on this platform. And I've spoken about this before, but in case you're newish here or can't remember, I'll say it again. Every platform that you go on has its own culture, its own way of doing things, its own sort of invisible, unwritten rules, things that work and things that don't. And people will change their behaviour drastically dependent on which platform they're on. I do. When I settle into YouTube, I settle in. I'm here for long form, so I can watch Critical Role for hours at a time unless I'm distracted or interrupted, which is usually the case. But I can settle in for the long haul. Whereas if I'm on TikTok, you could give me the same video, Critical Role, a 4-hour video, and I will not watch it. I am there for snappy. Different platforms, different behaviour. And here on YouTube, you've got to make them want to click on your video. So certain things work better than others, and I don't like it. So we're kind of gone from the days of having to do the whole although that kind of still works here on YouTube sometimes. You do need to have to stop the scroll. And I've found that I personally have managed to make a nice compromise, whereas I don't have to get so in your face with the thumbnails, as long as I can craft a good title. And I guess that's copywriting. You need to know the sort of language to use and words to use, and sometimes I just want to write a normal title and just go, this video is about YouTube. As it is, I don't know if I can show you, I've got a list of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 titles on this page, and I don't know which one I might call it, and I might switch them out as the week goes on. Some of you may notice that I switch out my thumbnails through the week. That's to just remind people, not remind people who have subscribed to my channel, or remind people who might see my videos on their homepage. It's like, yoo-hoo, if you would like to watch it, hello. And if they don't, they don't. But then, you know, it's fine. I'll be fine. It's cool. But anyway, yes, the titles that I've got for this particular video, I started with why I think YouTube is the best, and then in brackets, and hardest platform for handmade sellers. But that was very wordy, so I was trying to bring it down. The next one isn't much better. The best and hardest platform for handmade creators / makers and artists. That's way too wordy. Then I started to bring it in a little bit, and I've got handmade and YouTube equals success, in brackets, but it's not that easy. And then I've got, is YouTube really worth it for handmade businesses? Oh, that's just reminded me, I've got to do some faces for this. Otherwise I'm going to have to go through the whole video to pick out faces, and that's just, that takes a long time. And the last one I've got is my honest take on YouTube for handmade sellers. I'll be using a variety of them. And I've even got words that I'm going to stick in my thumbnails. Worth it, but OMG. Another one, what no one tells you. It's not all easy. Yes, but it hurts. That's got to go with one of the titles that I just said. And would I do it again? Spoiler alert, yes. But hopefully that demonstrates just how much time and energy goes into titles and thumbnails. And I used to do it after I'd made the video, and then I kept hearing YouTube educators on YouTube, I know, so meta, saying that you really need to plan them to begin with. And I was like, who has the time? But I tried it, and you know what? It works. Oh my god, did I just do the face? The YouTube face, the Macaulay Culkin Home Alone YouTube face. It's a whole skill. And if you're like me and you find that you would like to make more creative, more arty thumbnails and not worry so much about your titles, you can absolutely do that. But for me, I have found that my videos do better when I do pay attention to them and when I am respectful of what works here on the platform, which isn't completely aligned with my personal taste, but you know, I guess you can't have everything. So you've not just got to learn how to edit, which takes time, but then you've got to learn how to make good titles and thumbnails, which also takes time. And I've been doing this for 4 years, and I personally still don't think I'm very good at titles and thumbnails, but I'm forever learning. The next one, this is probably the biggest obstacle for people starting a channel, and that is that it's a long haul. It can take a long time to build your channel, but it really does depend on what you want to do with it. If you want to use it to promote your business, like I said before, you can do that from day one. You don't need to build it to be monetized. Once you get monetized, it's certainly nice because then you can make extra revenue from your videos, which, given the amount of time and work that you put into them, very nice. I personally wouldn't recommend anyone builds a YouTube channel so that they can rely on that ad revenue, because it's wonky. It does its own thing. It's drunk and disorderly. It can be great and it can dry up, and so many weird things seem to affect it, which is another reason why I use it to promote how I just stab myself, my work. And also I have the membership here, which, FYI, if you would like to join to get more madness like this, I try and sprinkle in a bit more of this into my videos. So if you like that, head on over. Anyway, I'm digressing. Regardless of what you want to do with your channel, it does take time, and that's a hard sell. Another thing that I've put down, and this is optional, so it's not a huge deal, but I use the app that comes with YouTube, which is YouTube Studio, because I find it really helps me keep on track of comments. But it has a video ranking thing on it, so they rank your most recent 10 videos from 1, which is the best, to 10, which is, it's not the worst, but it feels that way. So it can be really disheartening when you've been working really hard in a video and you see it sort of slumming away at the bottom there with the 8, 9 and 10. But likewise, it can also be disheartening if you make a video that you don't particularly want to take off because it's not what you want your channel to be known for, and it takes off and it's 1 out of 10, and on the YouTube Studio on desktop it will give you like little confetti, and it's just like, oh, piss off. It can mess with your head if you focus too much on it. Thankfully, YouTube did hear this. They took on board a lot of feedback that they got from creators, and you can at least minimize it now so that you can't see that. And that's what I do, because if otherwise I know myself, I will get too stuck in the weeds with it, and I'll let it get in there. So I'm adding YouTube Studio to this mix because I know that as creators, I haven't heard from one who hasn't been affected by it in some way, shape or form at least once. And the last one I've got here is people don't understand the work involved. And then I've actually listed down, I've sort of broken down the whole workload of making a video so that I thought some of you might find interesting. So the first thing is coming up with ideas. That is literally me sat at my table, either here or in the kitchen, brainstorming ideas. Not all of them will make it because I need it to be interesting enough that somebody will click on. I need it to be relevant to my audience here. I need it to be something that I know something about, that I can talk about, and something that I want to make a video about. So there's a lot of criteria that means that things will get taken off the list or added. The next thing is planning them out. Which is where my notebook comes in. As you may have noticed, I like to yap. It's my thing. That's why this channel is very much for some people and very much not for others. I like to talk, but I also go off in tangents. I lose myself sometimes, and that's why I need bullet points to keep me on some kind of track. Oh yeah, planning out also includes titles and thumbnails, as I've demonstrated. Then you've got the filming, and this is pretty much what people think about when you tell them that you make videos. They're like, they just think you just stand in front of a camera, yap for a bit, and then bish bash bosh, it's done. I wish. And again, the filming can include the thumbnails as well. Then you've got the editing, which includes thumbnails as well. So I use, as I say, Wondershare Filmora for editing my video, and then I use Canva for editing the thumbnail. And then you've got the uploading, which includes things like SEO, if you're going to be using that. I guess I should, sometimes I don't, because time. There's promoting it if you do that, and responding to comments, which I definitely do. So I mean, there's 5 things there. That's a lot when you're just doing one video. So all in all, I'm making 7 videos a month. 1 a week for this channel, once a fortnight for Patreon, and once a month for the membership. It's a lot. Hence why I'm winding up Patreon. And all of that so that you can tell people what you do, and they will look at you and just go, oh, you're a YouTuber, or worse, oh, you're an influencer. That's what the dentist said to me the last time I went, and I died inside 100 different ways. So now I just tell people I run an online shop. It's easier. So my advice, if you're interested and if you've been thinking about starting a channel, is ask yourself, would you do it for free? Consistently for a year? And if the answer to that is no, then probably not, because like I say, you do have to enjoy it, because it's graft, it's blimmin' hard work, and for a while it's work that you don't necessarily see any monetary value from. My argument to that though is that when I was trying to build my business primarily using Instagram, the same could be said there. The amount of hours that I put into that platform without getting anything back. I still use it because I still get sales through the platform, so it kind of pays for my attention in that way. But my attention it's more balanced now, whereas before it was like I was putting in so much effort into various platforms and not getting enough back. YouTube, I think, gives you enough back even if you're not monetized, which is why I keep on saying, you know, if you are the sort of person that likes to make videos, then you should definitely just think about it. And if you still don't know, then just give it a go. I mean, what's the worst that will happen? You'll put a video up, you'll think, well, that was too much blimmin' time and I hated every minute of it. Then you don't have to touch it again. But it might just be your new favourite thing. And for all of the work and all of the time and all of the nonsense, I love this platform. And if I had to choose just one place to be on the internet, it would be here. Right, I suppose I really should crack on with this now, so I am going to go and do that, and I hope this video wasn't too boring for you. I hope the sound and the light isn't too bad, and I will see you again next week for another video. Ta-ra.